Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
You are now tuned in to this week's episode of our podcast. Today we are going to interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in our field. By sharing our collective expertise, we will show you how to harness, control, and use your own skill set to achieve ultimate success and live the life you want. And now, please welcome your host.
Good to have you on the show today. My name is Omobola Stephen, and welcome to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. So today, I want us to focus on the women. We want to talk about the online products and entrepreneurship with women, right? What women are doing incredible in the entrepreneurship world. I have Kymberly Dakin on the show with me today, who is called the NUGGET Lady. Now you're going to know the reason why she's called the NUGGET Lady, along the course of the discussion, right? Kim is a coach and a corporate trainer. She's here to talk about taking the long shot, right? Post serendipity and time management in finding your next professional focus. Welcome with me on the show today, Kymberly Dakin.
Oh, thank you so much, Omobola. I'm very happy to
Kymberly.
be here. Happy to be here. So last year, when everything shut down because of COVID, I found that about 80 to 90% of my facilitation and training work just evaporated. I was certainly not alone in this experience, but I thought for the first time in my professional life, what I have is an expanse of time suddenly, right? So I took a class that was put together for women to develop online products. As most people know, women are not encouraged to go into tech. And once they do get into tech, they struggle. So there's a college in my state here in the U.S. With an entrepreneur development department. And one of the instructors was noticing that there were no women in his class. And the ones who were in the class eventually dropped out or just sort of endured the class very silently. So he was curious about how to engage women in particular in creating an online product. So he partnered with a nonprofit organization, sort of like a non-governmental organization for more international audiences. And the whole focus of this class was to get women to create an online product. Now, being a female is not the only barrier for some of us. Being of a certain generation that wasn't born into technology was also a real hurdle for at least three of us in the class. I'm 64, and I was not burped out of the womb knowing how to do tech. It's never been my native language by any means. So I was both intrigued and pretty intimidated by the notion, but I felt like I may as well, because it looks like I'm not going to be able to work for some time. So how can I best use this span of time? And I knew, because we were all going into Zoom meetings by then, I knew that I wanted to focus on the quality of our Zoom engagements, which in my experience was pretty yucky, for lack of a technical word. People were not engaged particularly. There was a lot of distraction going on. And when I was starting to facilitate some online meetings, there were all kinds of challenges involved. So I knew that I wanted to focus on this area, but I didn't exactly know what aspect of that I wanted to focus on. I came, in fact, to the end of that class, and I had not identified much of anything in terms of a problem. But what I did come to understand was that that's really a key first step, is really spending the time focusing, narrowing, and identifying the problem you want to solve, which it turns out I eventually did. The teacher, the instructor of the class, the one who works at the college, really liked the problem that I was focusing on. And so he talked me into round 2. I didn't want to take round 2, but he talked me into round 2. So I said yes. And we dug into what is one problem in online meetings that we can solve. And we came up with a problem. When I noticed when I was in my online meetings that if I have to take notes, and I love my notebooks. I, have a whole pile of notebooks. I love to take notes by hand, but that doesn't mean I could read them afterwards. That doesn't mean that I can make sense of them afterwards. I just can scribble down tidbits because I'm trying to stay engaged in my meeting. So I would try typing them. Same problem. I'm looking at the keyboard. I'm not looking at the faces in front of me. I'm not able to read body language. I'm not able to pick up on the dynamic that's going on interpersonally and reading subtext or any of the truth underneath the words, which in the kinds of meetings I was facilitating was really important. So I thought, what if we focused on a way to simplify or maybe even eliminate the need to take complex notes in online meetings? I started talking to fellow trainers and facilitators. And when I brought up this issue, they said, yeah, it's a real pain trying to take notes. Or even if the whole meeting is recorded, as they often are, you still have to spend time coursing through the transcript or coursing through the video to try to pull out the golden nuggets. So that's what launched NUGGET. NUGGET is a bookmarking app. It will record via audio the entire meeting, and it does it separately in a window that operates behind whatever meeting platform you're using. So it records an audio, then you have a transcript. But while you're in the meeting, while I'm in a meeting, if I'm using NUGGET, all I have to do, if I hear something important, or if I know something important is coming up, I just have to push the NUGGET button. That's all I have to do. If I want to put in a little context, I can do that too. But it mostly keeps me fully engaged in the meeting. And then at the end, I have clearly bookmarked and highlighted the important stuff out of that meeting, which I can share with any of the meeting participants or anybody I want to, whether they're NUGGET subscribers or not. So we are super excited about this. I'm talking to salespeople who are using it. I'm talking to fellow coaches who are using it. And once people get in the habit of using something different from their ordinary note-taking, which is actually a bigger hurdle than one might think. I myself had to get into the habit of using it. But once I'm in the habit, it starts to make meetings so much more interesting and fun. So That's
Incredible.
Nugget in a nutshell.
Incredible. Thank you so much for that insight, right? Now, Kim, what can other women learn from creating an online product?
Yes. First of all, it may be intimidating, but it's well worth the journey if you simply tell yourself, no matter what, I am going to learn something useful. I'm going to learn about a process of developing something new. And I can applaud myself for taking the risk. One of the things that we realized, or one of the things that the instructors realized, is that women, particularly in learning with a group of women, knuckle down and do the work and have a lot more self-discipline than many, at least younger men who enter that kind of process. We pay attention better, we listen better, and we come into the process with a degree of integrity that is right. It's oftentimes a little slippery with guys. So I would suggest to your audience, I would suggest to your audience that they take a deep breath and take a chance on themselves and understand that even if the end product doesn't turn out the way they want, they will have learned something truly valuable in going forward. Technology is our world, and there's no getting around it. If you're going to be successful in whatever field you're in, you've got to embrace it. And also to open your mind to the possibility that learning something technical could actually be a lot of fun. So I will put that in the mix.
Right. Risk takers, right? Are they more successful in life or do not?
Oh, do they take more risks in life?
Yes, risk takers, right? Are they more successful in life?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I believe so. I mean, you look at anybody who is truly successful, and this is male or female. At a certain point, they had to take a risk. They had to go against what we call common wisdom. They had to put themselves out there in a new way. And I would say risk takers are really the movers and shakers of the world. And the more women can take a chance on themselves and take risks, I truly believe the world is going to be a better place for their efforts, regardless of what they're trying to build.
Right. Now, can you share or can you juxtapose, right, between serendipity, right, and coincidence?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Is that a way a person can increase serendipity in their life?
I think so.
Right.
I think so. I think a person can develop the capacity to become luckier and to tap into synchronicity by learning to say yes to more things, by learning to exercise the yes muscle. For people who are cautious, for people who let a degree of fear rule their world, I think that it becomes harder for them to experience luck and synchronicity and beneficial coincidence. Because number one, they're not looking for it. And number two, they're not particularly open to it. And number three, part of luck is seeing connections between disparate